So AMP, just as a reminder, is the Alaska Measures of Progress. It replaced the former Standards-Based Assessment, SBAs. The test development is a 4-year process. Last year it was fixed, which meant that all students answered the exact same questions. And the data is not out. Originally we thought it would be out in September. Now we're hearing that it will be out in October. So the performance task, this is the new component to the state assessment, and it really is essentially just a written response. It was field tested in Kansas, and on average, students were taking 15 to 20 minutes to do the math component. The English language arts is required to be in 2 sections and 30 minutes each. These assessments, the performance tasks, are only being field tested. We will not receive any student learning data on these. The deed recommendations for these are the performance tasks are administered prior to the content and assessment, and in fact we have a 2-week window that we have to get them complete. We could extend that with a request and approval from deed. And they are recommending that the performance tasks are administered same grade, same day, which means all 3rd graders across the district, whether or not you're in correspondence or one of our site-based schools, would need to take the assessment on the exact same day. And they're recommending the best practice that testing sessions do not exceed 1 hour. So our concerns are the increased testing time for students. At minimum, it will be 90 minutes, could be up to an hour and a half of additional testing time. The extension of the AMP window is only 1 week, so we have to meet these requirements within a 1-week window. The performance tasks need to be done in 9 days. We could ask for an additional week if indeed approve that. And we're very concerned about the prescriptive scheduling of same grade, same day. One of the benefits of moving from a paper and pencil assessment to a computer assessment was allowing schools flexibility. Of significant concern to us is that many of our recent literacy and math adoptions have robust technology components to them, where really there's some computer-based instruction, and many of our tier 2 interventions, which is really critical for our students that are below grade level, are driven by our computers. So during this testing window, our computer-based instruction is halted. Also, there is a significant cost of substitute teachers to meet the small group requirements for administering AMP. So we really have 3 options. The first option is that we do it the way that we did it last year, simply extending from 5 weeks to 6 weeks. This would allow schools the flexibility that they had last year and would meet DEED's requirement of being able to comply with not more than 1 testing sessions. It would mean students would test on multiple days. The cons are that it halts our computer-based instruction during the testing window and the cost of substitutes per week. Option number 2 is that we complete the English language arts and math assessments in 2 full days. So for example, on April 5th, we would say all 3rd, 6th, and 9th grade students have a computer lab for the entire day to complete the English language arts assessment. We believe it would take approximately 3 hours. On April 6th, it would be all 4th grade, 7th grade, and 10th grade students, and so on. We could get that done in a 2-week window. However, to do that, we need 1 device per child in a specific grade level. So the pros to this option are it narrows the testing window to 2 weeks, reducing the impact to computer-based instruction and the need for substitutes over a long period of time. It does not comply with DEED's recommendation of 1 hour for testing, and we need to harness additional technology to meet grade level needs. Last year, to meet the AMP requirements, we purchased 11 additional carts. This year we project that we would need 17 additional carts, and I believe the average cost of those carts is approximately $40,000 per cart. So option 3 is DEED does have a waiver to return to the paper and pencil version of the assessment. It's the way that we administered the SBAs. For example, all students on April 4th would complete the English language arts assessments. On April 5th, all students would do the math. On April 6th, grades 4, 8, and 10 would do the science. We could knock out the test in 1 week. So that's a pro, and we would not use any of our labs, computer labs, to do this. A con is that it forces high schools into that old testing schedule where on those given days they cannot move the curriculum forward. When they're not moving the curriculum forward, we have a very high absenteeism rate with our juniors and seniors. And it's only a one-year solution. We can only ask for the fixed assessment. When we move to the adaptive assessment, we do have to use computers.
And there's no guarantee that the state will grant the waiver.
And there's no guarantee that the state would grant the waiver. That's correct. That we recommend from the state school board, the D does not move forward with the implementation of the performance tasks. These are those additional written responses that are going to take approximately an hour and a half minimum, complicates our testing schedule, and we don't get any data from them. In addition, long-term, we would really like to use this as an opportunity for Mat-Su to be able to have the right to choose our own nationally normed reference test for the purposes of state accountability. And specifically, we would like to use measures of academic progress. We've used this metric for 10 years. It has allowed us to have a consistent measure as we move from the old math standards to the new math standards, the old math curriculum to the new math curriculum. It is required in grades 2 through 8. It would be very easy for us to extend that through 10th grade and meet the federal requirements. The state already recognizes MAP as a viable option for the early literacy screening assessments that have been required in previous years. And 33 districts in our state are already using it as they recognize it as a viable option to measure student growth.